Thanks. Thanks. It's really interesting when you're not in Holland for a while and then you come back and you're like, ooh, that's very direct. They're talking about periods. So I guess it's working for me, the Yoni brand. Okay, so Mariah is obviously talking about a consumer brand, right? Something that we all find on the shelves of our Albert Heijn or our Ethos. But when we talk about branding, that's often where we end up because it's very tangible. But there's lots of other things we can actually think about branding, like ideas or methods for education. So our next speaker, Emer Beamer, is the founder of Designathon Works. And she had the arduous task of thinking how to sell a design thinking method for children, which is not only very abstract because people don't know it yet, people also might not estimate the abilities of children very high, and it just in general is a really tough thing to sell when you're not known and not understood to really get an audience for what you're doing. But Designathon Works has done extremely well in the past 3 years. So I'd love to invite Emer Beamer to come and share her story of how she's done that. Please give Emer an applause.
Thanks very much. Good evening, all. Before I tell you a little bit about our work, maybe a nice bridge to what Maria was sharing, maybe you'd like to do a small interactive exercise that 2 questions, and you can answer it by saying yes, standing up, not really, or just stay sitting, not at all. And the first question is, I'm technically savvy and ready for the future. So if your answer is yes, you can stand up. I'm technically savvy and ready for the future. Do a kind of a squat, or you can stay sitting. Look at us. Way to go, folk. And the second question is the one that actually links to what Maria said. And then the question is, I'm doing with my life something that makes the world a better place. Yes? Yay, look at us. Oh, someone should make a photo. It looks really good. Congratulations to everybody. Oh, that's lovely. Sweet. So I'm going to talk a little bit about our work, our messaging, and what strategies we've used for our brand and storytelling. So at Designathon Works, we teach or facilitate children to design a better world using technologies. And so, I have to wait for it to go back one. Talking about creativity, or maybe more creative thinking, we pose that it's a renewable resource, it's universally available, and while valued, it's actually hugely underused, is the position. And then if we look at children, they have high creative ability with it deteriorating as going into adulthood. So what we're aiming to do, our vision, is a world where every child would be involved in using their creativity to make the world a better place. Our goal is to reach 1 million children globally with this skill set. And then there's like 2 messages messages that we're working with to get us there. And on the one side, we're trying to convince society that the child's creative ability is of value worth listening to, worth incorporating as a co-creator of society. And on the other hand, we're trying to adjust the education system so that these kind of skill sets would actually be taught in schools. And the way we're going about it is through 3 channels. So we have a school program, training teachers in primary schools to do the program themselves. We have events that organizations commission us to do, such as WaterNet, who asked us to do a design-a-thon around water, future of water in Amsterdam, and our Global Children's Designathon, which I will share a little video on in a minute. We've done it 3 times, went from 5 cities, then 10 cities, and then 18 cities. So what is the method? It's basically design thinking and then adapted for children who have a different rhythm of getting creative and moving forward. And the themes we work with are the Sustainable Development Goals, so big themes like the future of mobility, circular economy, life on land like desertification or biodiversity. So we don't ask the children to look at small things, we really give them the big questions and allow them to think towards the future. And then we make this methodology available through a lesson kit and a small electronics kit, trainings, learning platform and video tutorials. And this gives a sense of the impact of where we are and the children and schools that we're reaching. Of course, good to share some of the ideas of the children, which are continually amazing. Top left, the theme was water. These children were in Florida. It was not long after they had had a big hurricane. And they wanted to make a home elevation system so that the house could rise up when the water would come. Now, there are already houses on stilts, but they wanted to put them on telescopic stilts, so if the water would go up, that the house could go higher again. And the children on the top right here, they plan to have a robot that would shoot at a meteorite and mine water from it. And it sounded really outlandish. And then people told us that actually in Luxembourg, I think it is, people are researching this option. And down here was in India. These girls wanted to tackle the problem of people throwing rubbish into the river. I guess they don't have a good garbage disposal system. So they made an organic net concept that if the rubbish got thrown in, it would collect it and then you could roll it back all in and throw it away. But it would also be like a kind of behavior change stimulus that people could see, oh, look at all this rubbish. Maybe we shouldn't be doing that. I think now I have this little video. Feel free to come. Thanks. I'm going to share some strategies on how we're trying to get this idea out of listening to children more, but maybe because Maria did it, and give the challenge to Arian coming up next to share one motivation for me personally why I feel the need to do this, or why I think it's important, is I think actually as a child I had some really big ideas on how to change the world, and pretty much nobody was interested. So, yeah, that's okay. So what are some of the things that we've tried to do to help people to see beyond the stereotype of the child as, you know, small, inexperienced, cute, irrelevant, doesn't know what they're talking about yet, and all these lenses with which we see children? How could we, you know, get beyond that to start having people appreciate this huge creative ability and their perspective from that time of life? So, very proud of this, actually, a report we made based on research in 10 of the 18 cities, whereby we asked both children for their idea of how do you see yourself as a change maker in the world? Do you think you're creative? We asked the adults, how do you see the children's work? How do you perceive them now, before and afterwards? And then also documented the different type of problems around water that the children decided to tackle, and what kind of inventions they came up with, and produced this in a, you know, fancy kind of report, and offered it to the World Economic Forum and stuff. And people have been really positive about this, yeah, collating it into a more adult form, perhaps. That's been working very well for us. We also had the children presenting their ideas at the Singularity Summit. They got a standing ovation. It was really lovely. But the ideas, because it was in a context, perhaps, it was adults, context, children on stage, but because they were also talking about like outlandish and maybe future ideas, it fitted perfectly with the children. And the adults were amazed that the children's ideas were totally up there with what else they'd been hearing that day. We thought if we could take the children's, you know, small ideas, which are made of cardboard and plastic and little electronics, if we could make it at scale, you know, perhaps that would convey the value and the quality of the ideas. So WaterNet produced this. It's big, like, and it was presented at the Amsterdam International Water Week. 30,000 visitors, and Premier Russia came, and the children said they would like to be in his next think tank. I don't think it's happened yet. Now we're working on this one. Ina, who's sitting here at the front, is collaborating with a very interesting designer who has already done a bunch of projects on waterdoorlatend stoeptekels. Even vertalen, het staat er. Permeable street tiles or pavement stones. So a bunch of children in the same designathon, 10 years old, came up with this idea, and we're going to make this one at scale now. But this one's different to the other one. It's less fantastical. You can see it being happening this year. So I think that might convey even stronger the message that the children should be taken seriously, basically. You can see how it works, right? It's a stoeptekel, dus, a pavement tile, which when it would flood, too much rain, the water would get filtered going through a few layers of the tile and then be collected underneath, and then you could come along and press the pump and get some clean water to drink on the street. Yeah. Yeah, look, eh? And another tactic or strategy we use is this global event. Initially, we did it because we thought, let's see if this methodology really works with children all over the world, regardless of context. But now, obviously, being able to say to people, oh yes, we're doing this in Singapore, we're doing it in India, we're doing it in Nairobi, we're doing it in America and London, that adds a lot of weight and credence to what we're doing. And lastly, probably a strategy that other people use is kind of trying to hitch our brand to more well-known quality brands. And being able to work with these people, of course, is amazing. I'm personally really excited about the European Space Agency. Sorry, this is a bit of an inside joke of my team, but they actually are willing to, they saw the children on the podium at Singularity University and thought, wow, maybe we can get the children to think about space exploration and how space exploration can actually help us here with environmental challenges on planet Earth, which is what they work on. And I think children could totally tackle that. You know, for them it'll be like, yeah, okay, let's give it a go. So, yeah. We're really on a mission. How can we have this amazing creative ability of children be seen and be incorporated into how we shape society? These are some of the strategies we've tried. If anyone has more ideas, we'd love to hear from you. So thanks.